The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Now Thomas, one of the 12, called the twin, was not with them when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see in his hands the mark of the nails, and place my finger into the mark of the nails, and place my hand into his side, I will never believe." 8 days later, his disciples were inside again, and Thomas was with them. Although the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and see my hands, and put out your hand and place it in my side. Do not disbelieve, but believe." Thomas answered him, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I want to reflect with you on 3 personalities through the lens of the Gospel: Thomas, Jesus, and ourselves. First, what can we learn about Thomas and from Thomas? Now, Thomas asked questions so as to believe better. He did so openly and publicly. He asked so that his faith might be informed, never mind that he wanted a very tangible sign. Now, Thomas is characterized by many as the greatest doubter in the Bible. Is that really true? Is that really fair? According to St. Anselm, theology is faith seeking understanding. And perhaps that was Thomas seeking to do precisely that. Thomas dared to ask questions of his faith. He dared to doubt because he wanted to believe. Now, Peter denied Jesus, but no one calls him Peter the denier. But poor Thomas dared to question, and he's dismissed as doubting Thomas. This is unfair because it is from his lips that we hear probably the greatest affirmation of faith. Thomas was making his faith journey. He raised a question and Jesus answered him. And Thomas could only fall on his knees and cry out from the depth of his heart, "My Lord and my God." So Thomas, in saying that, was making 2 affirmations. One was a faith affirmation and the other is a political affirmation. First, a faith affirmation. "My Lord and my God." Yes, could there be a greater acclamation and proclamation of faith? Because Thomas goes down in history in the entire Bible as one who made the greatest confession of faith, his faith affirmation. The second is, it's also a political affirmation which is subversive. You must understand the political context. At the time when John was writing the gospel, the emperor was Domitian, the Roman emperor, and he asked that this title be applied to him, "My Lord and my God." So when Thomas is announcing Jesus as "my Lord and my God," he's saying, not Domitian, not the Roman emperor, but Jesus is my Lord and my God. A clear faith statement, but also a political statement. So, having learned from and about Thomas, we move on. Secondly, what can we learn about Jesus and from Jesus? Now, Jesus does not scold Thomas. Jesus comes looking for Thomas when they are gathered together. And Jesus knows that we are all on different stages of our faith journey. In fact, he takes Thomas' questions seriously. Our faith begins to grow when we ask questions and when we struggle, even with our doubts. What's our image of God? How do we understand God? Where is God when we need God most? And we must feel free to wrestle with this image of God. It's interesting that Jesus, when he appears, shows his scars on his body, his hands and his side as a result of a very painful and a shameful death. The scars on his body show that the past cannot be changed or cancelled. We cannot pretend that the past did not exist. Neither should we continue to be ashamed or guilty about our past or be terrorized by it once we have placed it into the hands of Jesus. Because we must allow not just the past to be seen as a painful memory, but reinterpret it through the lens of the healing touch and presence of Jesus. No matter how painful or tragic or shameful our past has been, once we surrender it into Jesus' hands, we allow it to be healed. And just as the scars of Jesus became a source of life and faith to Thomas, so too in this context, our own scars and woundedness and brokenness, once it's healed by Jesus, becomes a source of life and a source of hope for us and for all that we have struggled with. And finally, it comes to what does this text say about us and to us? What is our own faith journey like? For most of us as children, we received our faith and our faith instructions from our parents. Have we grown since then? Is our faith an expression of a living relationship with God? Or has it been reduced to a state of stale rituals and tired formula? Are we growing in faith, or are we just stagnating and allowing our spiritual state to rot? The opposite of faith, I would say, is not doubt or even healthy doubt, but cynicism. We can laugh and mock and ridicule the very things that once we held sacred in our faith. We treat as casual what we profess to believe and affirm as our belief until we knock out the very basis of why we believe and what we believe. We might follow the structures of the faith, but sadly sometimes have no faith at all. We could, as best be described as by John Henry Newman, theoretical believers but practical atheists. Persons who are cultural Catholics but no longer convinced Catholics. To come to a living experience of our faith, some aspect of our old belief must be purified. Do we wrestle with questions of what we believe, why we believe, and how do we express our faith? It will involve some struggle, some questioning, some doubting. It is only then we can dispel the darkness of our doubt. We can clear the web of confusion, and we can really begin to live our faith in a more lively manner. If, like St. Thomas, this apostle who came to India, we care about what we believe in, our very doubts will provide an occasion for us to make that journey from doubt to faith, a deeper faith. And may we live in such a way that we will give witness by our lives, witness to the life of Jesus, who touches us in the deepest part of ourselves. And St. Thomas shows us how.